Recently, a very popular Taiwanese YouTuber shared a very personal and salacious story.
现在被你们全家一脚踢开，没有了钱。
And this story has simply taken Taiwanese YouTube by storm.
是 Andy 跟家宁正式的开战。
And with millions of views and millions of dollars involved, it inspired me to ask myself a few questions. Is it possible I'm using my sickness to make money online?
有点过头咯。
Do I actually still have a wife?
你跟谁炒饭啊？
Or indeed, do I have a secret girlfriend?
你不是单身吗？
And as a YouTuber who is also a father, how much of my life should I be sharing online? William? Who's here? Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan, this is my life in Taiwan, and recently I've been publishing a few personal videos. I'm pretty sick. Oh my god. And after seeing some other YouTubers share some very personal details of their lives,
对不起我老婆，对不起我儿子。
it's begged me to ask the question, how much of our lives should we be sharing online as YouTubers here in Taiwan and to audiences around the world?
其实我最对不起的就是我的家人。
And another question I need to ask, is it right that we as YouTubers can make money and profit from publishing our personal lives online
业配则有1亿5千万。
to a Taiwanese audience that is hungry for gossip, scandal, and salacious news? Of course, we now live in a world where the line between personal life and public life is blurrier than ever.
李克太太也不满前夫拿了诉讼资料找人翻译，泄露他的个资。
And if you're a content creator like me, or indeed just a viewer who watches content creators closely, you will have seen how sharing personal private stories online can attract a lot of views,
我们这次就来。
be very powerful, but can also be very dangerous.
我真的觉得我死掉会比较好。
So in this video, we'll be diving into that question, asking how much of our lives we should be willing to share online, as well as taking a look at some recent controversies and scandals that have absolutely blown up on the Taiwanese YouTube scene.
欢迎 Andy 继续反驳，我绝不会退缩。
And I'll be sharing with you guys how my life has been affected after I disclosed my recent Parkinson's diagnosis,
他天生比自己，帕金森氏病。
as well as offering some thoughts on how better creators can protect themselves when sharing personal lives online, but still staying real with their audience.
谢谢大家。
First thing I think we should take a look at is to ask why some creators feel the need to share their personal lives in the first place.
我今天就来回复大家。
Sometimes it's about building a relationship with the audience, building a connection, humanizing the creator.
因为可能未来他会失去这一切。
A lot of creators hide behind their content and don't let people see the real them. For me, sharing my Parkinson's diagnosis was 100% about being honest and open and not hiding a huge part of my life from an audience that has supported me for many years. If a YouTuber is just reviewing technology,
S25 Ultra 的开箱啊，
teaching English maybe,
你喜欢学英文吗？
or even just introducing some interesting Taiwanese foods or his life in Taiwan,
Stinky tofu.
yes, the content is very much enjoyed by the audience, but if that same YouTuber suddenly opens up about their personal life, a difficult childhood, or indeed a very serious personal health problem, then the viewer will connect more to that YouTuber and actually start to care about the YouTuber much more than they do about the content, and the relationship between viewer and YouTuber becomes stronger. And as I mentioned earlier, this kind of connection can be really powerful, especially as we're all threatened with our jobs with AI. YouTubers are also under threat from AI, but being a real person, connecting to the audience and being authentic with the audience is the powerful part. And yes, it sells to marketing companies. And that's where the financial jeopardy or the financial connection comes in and might be questioned by the audience, because yes, marketing companies love authentic creators. Viewers trust us. I genuinely love the products that I've sold. I'm sure many of you know which product I'm talking about. Definitely has affected my life very strongly recently, especially with sleep being an important part of my life. But yes, this does raise questions as to whether or not should I be linking any sponsored videos to my medical health videos. 5 years to live, you say? My goodness. Then I probably need Ingwo Susu green tea. Perfect. When you've got 5 years to live. What are you so happy about? So far, I've not done it, but it does raise the question as to whether or not I should put a sponsored segment into a video where I'm sharing something deep, personal, and very private from my life. As I mentioned, there is often a trust between the creator and the viewers, and that trust can be turned into loyalty, merchandise sales, sponsorships, and that's a very dangerous topic to get into when you're talking about sharing things from your personal life while still making money. I've got to make money for my son. I need to eat. I need to live. So there is, of course, a big risk to opening up and sharing personal stories while still monetizing your channel. And once that door has been opened, it's very difficult to shut. So let's talk about the risks to the creator when they choose to share a personal story online. Yeah, I'm sick. For me, when I shared my diagnosis of Parkinson's, that story, that news, that gossip now becomes the whole world's story to tell and share and interpret in their own way. Once any YouTuber decides to share something personal online, they lose control of how their story is told. And this affects many aspects of the person's life after they've decided to share their story. Their relationships, their career, their mental health. That's definitely something I need to be aware of now sharing my personal diagnosis. And I think that's quite difficult for a lot of people to put into perspective. Most people, they share a personal moment in their lives, whether it's a struggle or a success, with a few friends, maybe some members of your family, certainly not tens or hundreds of thousands of people. And that is really difficult for me to convey to people that maybe haven't done that before or don't like to share their personal lives with others. Just imagine sharing something very personal, even with just a few members of your family or friends group, and then they take that personal story, comment on it, like it, dislike it, share it with their friends, tell you you're lying, tell you you're doing it to make money. Even with just a small group of people, that's going to really affect your mental health. And I chose to do it with tens, hundreds of thousands of people that everyone had their say, 99% of whom were very positive and supportive. But of course, there were some negative comments criticizing me for being so open and sharing personal things online when it's actually my business, nobody else's business, or maybe they don't care. But I guess, as I mentioned, that's a risk I choose to take when sharing my personal life online. Even my intention is pure, the internet doesn't always respond with kindness.
有点过头咯，靠卖惨来骗取同情。
One recent case that has shocked a lot of people online here in Taiwan is the situation between Andy 老师 and his girlfriend and his girlfriend's mother. They were working together on YouTube, and there was a whole lot of gossip, a whole lot of videos came out.
2021年是你先开始和一位男性闺蜜过从甚密。
A lot of money was made.
100万订阅的频道，业配行情至少50万元。
Tens of millions of Taiwanese dollars went missing as far as Andy was concerned.
则有1亿5千万。
He chose to open up personally online and share his side of the story. There's lots of gossip back and forth.
和不止一位女性有情感上及肉体上的出轨。
And the financial numbers involved with Andy's case were absolutely huge. Some reports I read state that the channel's income over the years was as much as 150 million NT, whereas Andy only received a small percentage of that.
每个月只领5万5。
So now Andy's case has exploded into public view with lawsuits, trademark disagreements, as well as lots of personal attacks and rumors online, including the sharing of screenshots between the included parties. Not too sure whether or not I agree with sharing personal screenshots. There's maybe a legal issue there somewhere. But on a slight tangent, this is how blending personal life with business life and sharing it online can explode spectacularly in your face.
Well, basically, she's not talking to me now.
And if you do choose to share a personal relationship that you have with somebody else that's on your channel, you have to protect yourself legally and emotionally and psychologically. That I'm not too sure Andy did. I'm sure when everything was going well, they didn't think about protecting themselves. But of course, combining business relationships with romantic relationships can often result in a spectacular explosion, especially when those relationships are shared with the world on YouTube to millions of people. Andy's case in particular went viral, not just because it was a breakup, but because it was a breakup between two people whose relationship had been made entirely public. Andy received a lot of support from the Taiwanese audience.
他的点阅率已经超过了300万了。
Both metaphorically, emotionally, and financially. And Andy 老师 isn't the only one. Taiwan's YouTube scene has several recent cases where YouTubers have shared very personal things about their lives, but have then had to deal with the fallout. Take為什麼大戰家寧 for example, whose channel revolved around science and technology. Very interesting content, very popular YouTuber, maybe one of the first Taiwanese YouTubers to hit 1 million subscribers, but then she decided to start sharing her personal life, including her divorce,
我们某程度上还算是一个家人，所以也都希望他好好的。
which then her husband decided to get involved, sharing his side of the story on Instagram and his YouTube channel.
For a divorced couple, maybe both sides feel angry.
A very messy situation that ultimately ended, I think, with為什麼大戰家寧 choosing to leave the platform, at least temporarily, to deal with her own way of dealing with the situation, let's say. Or another example is one of Taiwan's most popular YouTubers, Joeman, with over 2 million, 3 million subscribers. He has openly discussed the stress, psychological issues, and burnout he faced when having to create content for a channel that grows bigger than maybe he had expected. And as I said, he has to deal with the fallout. He had his own ways of dealing with stress. But yes, Joeman certainly opened himself up to very harsh criticism and certainly a lot of media intrusion into his life with his ways of dealing with the stress and burnout of being a creator. And these stories from Andy 老師,為什麼大戰家寧, and Joeman, they certainly show a pattern that when a YouTuber chooses to share their personal life online, the rewards in the short term are great, likes, views, clicks, sympathy, donations maybe, but the long-term cost can be much more significant. Again, it's all gossip and rumors that an audience in Taiwan seem to absolutely love and lap it up, but these stories definitely show there is a huge risk to sharing your personal life online. So there are some specific examples from Taiwanese YouTube of which I am a part, which brings me to my story. A few weeks ago, I made the decision to share with my viewers and share with the world that I have been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and it wasn't an easy decision. I kept it quiet for almost a year until deciding I didn't want to hide it anymore. I didn't want to cheat the audience or sponsors that maybe don't want to work with me. I thought it's better to be open and honest. And I knew that once it was out, once it was online, there's of course no way to take it back. I did think long and hard about sharing it. I discussed it with other YouTube friends, other personal friends, with my family. I thought about the way that brands would see me. Of course, as I mentioned at the start of this video, we do earn money from sharing our personal lives online. So I of course care how my income will be affected and the way the brands will see me as a result of my diagnosis. I'm a father, I need money to support William. But in the end, ultimately, I shared the news because it just felt like the right thing to do. I didn't want sympathy, I didn't want pity, but what I did want was to show that life doesn't end with a diagnosis. I, of course, can still live, can still be active, can still create videos, and of course, can make jokes with my friends about my situation. I'm sure Prozzy will not like it if I share some of the jokes that me and him have shared on the podcast. Patreon.com/AlanandProzzy if you're interested in seeing some of his Parkinson's jokes. Pretty funny. I gave him a pass to do it. But yes, the support I received was honestly some of the most touching, the most beautiful comments came in with advice, with love, with support, with donations that blew me away. That will certainly help me look after William's education when he comes to study in Taiwan next year. It was overwhelming, and I want to say thank you to everybody that messages came in. I definitely made the right decision because I also received some messages from people that have been diagnosed with Parkinson's much earlier than me. One lady who was diagnosed at 26 got in touch and said the video really touched her and affected her. So it was 100% the right thing to do. Does that mean that every other part of my life is going to be public? Am I going to share every detail of my life in Taiwan? Of course not. I have to consider the feelings of other people. Not everybody in my life wants to be made public, and I don't want to make them public. There are some people that really are close to me that I don't share online. There are some situations that I don't want to share online. There is a boundary to what can be shared and what cannot be shared, and that's something that I'm trying to negotiate as I go through this really difficult time in my life. And talking of difficult times in my life, that's going to bring me to my marriage, and more specifically, my divorce. If you search for life in Taiwan on YouTube, in the search bar, the suggested content that comes up is life in Taiwan, 英国叔叔离婚, meaning that a lot of people or enough people are searching about my life, my divorce, that it pops up as a suggested content. Do I want to share about my divorce? No, I don't. Do I want to share about my marriage problems? No, I don't. It involves another person that I have to consider, and it's not anybody's business whether or not I share my divorce, my marriage, or my romantic situations online. Yes, I mentioned a couple of little details in my last video. Did I mention anybody's names? No. Was there a lot of interest in who I was talking about? Yes.
你跟谁炒饭啊?
People think I'm married, people think I'm divorced, people think I have a girlfriend. Some people even think I have a boyfriend, but as we all know, I'm waiting for Ku to get down on one knee and propose. Just kidding. See, is that what the like I just mentioned in the last point, not everything in my life is going to be online. Okay, so as we come to the end of the video, I've decided to share some do's and don'ts for myself and maybe for you guys when it comes to sharing online. I think it's okay to share online when it adds value, when you think your sharing can help others either understand you, understand the situation, or indeed understand a disease such as Parkinson's that I shared recently. One other thing you do need to do is ask yourself, am I okay with this being online for the rest of time? Am I okay with everybody knowing this forever and ever? Some things I've published on my channel in the past maybe don't fall into this category. A couple of regrets here and there, but generally speaking, most things I share, I'm okay with people knowing for the rest of time. One big no-no when it comes to sharing online is don't share when you're feeling emotional. Just after a breakup, just after a failed driving test or argument with your family, don't post anything online. Take a walk, relax, think about it, post only once you've considered all of the options and all of the possible outcomes as to what might happen if you share something too personal, too suddenly after a specific emotional event. One thing that I was accused of that I certainly wouldn't do and I don't think anyone should ever do is don't treat trauma like clickbait. Yes, of course, I want as many people as possible to see my videos. Yes, I want as many people to be affected and touched and learn something from my videos. So it's important my title is attractive to get as many people to watch it, but it wasn't clickbait. I have a serious disease. I shared my serious disease and how it affects my life in Taiwan. So I'm completely comfortable in the fact that I didn't use my trauma, my sickness, my disease as clickbait. And my final piece of advice, or my final do from this section, is that if you do share something personal online, do it on your terms, not the terms of anybody else, and protect your boundaries afterwards. What do I mean by protect your boundaries? Don't fight with people in the comment section. Be confident that you've made the right decision to share it, and don't feel the need to explain yourself. After all, your social media account is your social media account. At the end of the day, you can share whatever you want to, but definitely, like I say, protect your boundaries, protect yourself. Be sure you're sharing for the right reasons, I guess. So I guess that's going to bring me to the end of this video, and the only thing left for me to do is invite you to comment down below with anything that affected you from this video or any of the situations that I mentioned. Let's keep the conversation going in the comment section. And of course, if there's something that you've shared online that you regretted, let me know in the comment section. Maybe don't, because then you're sharing it again. Or let me know how it affected you is probably a better way to do it. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. You know, you guys are the real VVVIPs that watch to the very end of the video. We don't care about those people that leave halfway through. But yeah, it's been nice walking around this beautiful park here in Taipei, sharing my life with you guys. I'm enjoying the sharing much more recently despite a few negative comments. I think I'm doing the right thing by being open and honest with my viewers. And as I said at the very start of the video, building a connection. The connection is what makes this channel a little bit different to other channels. I feel I'm starting to waffle now, but hey, we're in this to the end of the video anyway, so why not have my say. I'm really enjoying the connection and the support and the emotional backup that the comment section gives me. So thanks for watching, as I said. But as for now, and as always, I'll see you next time in my life in Taiwan. Peace. Bye-bye.